So, ladies and gentlemen, what started out as Democrats not taking Spencer Pratt seriously because he was a former reality TV star from 2 decades ago, that has quickly shifted. Now the left is panicking, they're dodging and avoiding debates after he splashed on the scene with his first ever debate against current mayor Karen Bass and Socialist City Council member Nithya Raman. And so now they are scrambling for some way to slow his momentum. In fact, you got Karen Bass going so far as to accuse his highly effective campaigns of inciting violence against her, which obviously is not the case. But even with all of the attacks that Pratt has taken, whether it's from Bass, Raman, or even TMZ, he's managed to flip the script each time. And that is pissing them off highly, especially now for Karen Bass, as she is being questioned and asked to answer for her leadership, which has been abysmal for the city of Los Angeles. And so, as always, if you enjoyed the content, smash that thumbs up button. That's the best way you can let me know. Subscribe to stay locked in with the future videos. Let's start with this.
Can Spencer Pratt's viral videos push him toward victory in the race for LA mayor? Well, the former reality star is out with a new ad today.
Pratt has also been sharing AI-generated ads that are gaining a whole lot of traction online. Fox 11's Rachel Aragon breaks down the conversations these ads are generating.
Now this is a story all about how
Spencer Pratt out with a new ad Monday, reminding voters why he's running for mayor of Los Angeles, all while addressing reports about whether he actually lives in the Airstream trailer prominently featured in his campaign.
It literally gave him an opportunity to reinforce to voters why he's running for mayor, because his home burned down in the Palisades fire, and the response that the city of LA provided was not working.
Got that one little fire, my mom got scared and said, "You're moving in with Harvey Levin in Bel Air."
The 42-year-old generating clicks and conversations online with his blunt videos highlighting issues of crime and homelessness.
If you like the last 4 years, you're going to love the next 4.
But it's these artificial intelligence ads that Pratt has been resharing and generating a lot of buzz. Fox 11 reached out to Nithya Raman's campaign and to Mayor Karen Bass's campaign for a comment on the AI-generated videos. Bass's campaign responded saying, quote, "Spencer is doing the best Trump impression, but it's not going to work in LA."
Artificial intelligence has been around for a while.
Pratt's campaign did not create these viral AI videos. Republican strategist Matt Klink points out Pratt is not the first to share AI-generated ads, but he says there's a reason they're resonating online.
Whether you support the mayor, the incumbent, or you support Nithya Raman or Spencer Pratt, I don't think anybody is going to say that they're happy with the trajectory that Los Angeles is on.
Some warn that certain AI-generated ads can lead to voter deception.
They call those deep fakes. That's the dangerous way to use artificial intelligence, or where you have people saying something that they wouldn't normally say and you use it in a very serious environment.
Klink says that's not the case with the ads Pratt is sharing. The question now is, will these viral ads actually translate to votes?
A lot of people say, oh, it's a political ad and just tune it out. You start to watch these things and they capture your attention. That's the first step toward convincing somebody why they should vote for you.
I'm Rachel Aragon, Fox 11 News.
What's so effective about what he's doing is that he's just showing and saying everything that many people in Los Angeles have been upset about. And so while you have Karen Bass talking like she's doing this wonderful, great job, like she's cleaning up the streets, making the cost of living more affordable and doing all of these things, that is not how the people feel. That's not what they are actually experiencing, right? And so that's why Pratt has a shot right now, which, if we're being completely honest, he shouldn't have any shot at all when you consider that, yeah, he does not have experience, but that is how effective he has been able to communicate his message to the people. And it's been resonating a lot. And that's something that Republicans can take a lesson from with this whole thing, because Democrats are moving further and further to the left. All Republicans have to do is speak with common sense and have some toughness about them. Don't back down from what the left is out here attempting to do. And so while Spencer Pratt is picking up momentum, Karen Bass, on the other hand, is being confronted about what she has actually done as mayor. And so check this out.
Incumbent Mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass here. She is running for re-election. Thank you so much for joining us. Mayor, let's get right into it.
Sure.
When I interviewed you at the one-year anniversary of the Palisades fire, you told me that you were a little surprised that so much of the anger about the fire is still directed solely at you. And it seems like that anger has now encompassed other problems facing the city: homelessness, Hollywood production, crime, all directed at you. How do you convince such an angry electorate that you deserve 4 more years?
Well, first of all, it's super important that I explain about the accomplishments that have been done. The fact that homelessness is down 17.5%, 2 years in a row. It's the first time we've seen a decline in street homelessness. Around the country, homelessness went up 18%. Crime is down. 60-year low in terms of our homicide rate. We go through spikes here and there, and when we do, we respond aggressively. But also the alternatives so that you don't always have to have a police officer. Increasing the hiring of police. Building 42,000 units of affordable housing, because we know that the #1 issue in our city was 4 years ago, and it is today, is affordability. The part that we can control in the city is the cost of housing. And all of that has taken place under my watch. I want to make sure that we can move forward and complete what we started and prepare our city for a very successful games, which I know we will have.
On homelessness, I know that street homelessness is down, but roughly 40% of those who have gone through Inside Safe have ended up back on the street. What is being done to address that?
Well, first of all, the #1 thing that has been lacking is the services. So once we get people off the street, making sure that we address why they fell on the street to begin with.
She's throwing out all of these numbers, but she does not want to talk about the cost. You'll notice that part. How much is this costing the taxpayers? Where she says, homelessness is down 17%. It's the second year in a row. But if you have 40% of those people who you claim are getting off the street, you're giving housing to or shelter, whatever, they're going back to the streets. And so is that 17% really what it is? I mean, I don't think so. Because if you're giving housing to them temporarily before they go right back out to the streets, what are you really solving? Especially when the cost of this program is in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And she was confronted on that and had no answers. Take a listen.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Please don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I don't have to go anywhere.
Yes, well, let me just...
No, she's a failure. She spent $400 million on Inside Safe and only permanently housed 1,500 people. 1,500 people. $400 million we spent on her program. She has tried to fight audits nonstop. I am not. I don't care. I'm trying to get answers. She has been running for years and she won't answer the questions. Karen Bass, why have you been fighting an audit of Inside Safe? Why? You guys just want to sit there and run cover for her. Shame on all of you. All of you ask her softball questions. We have real problems. You guys are the fucking problem. You're a failure. You're not asking. You have never asked real questions. You have never asked real questions.
I'm ready to ask questions. Like,
filmthepoliceLA@gmail.com. Send me an email. Karen, you're a failure.
And so Los Angeles has spent more than $300 million on Inside Safe. And around an estimated 5,800 people have been temporarily housed, and yet about 40% of those participants ended up back on the streets. So now the question becomes very simple. Are you solving homelessness, or are you temporarily moving people indoors long enough to make the numbers look better? That's why Bass does not want to talk about the cost and wants to keep the conversation about the percentages and compassion and how many people she's been able to move indoors, no matter how long she's actually been able to keep them indoors. And more importantly, how many of these people are actually becoming productive citizens, contributing to society. But let's continue.
Josh, 60% of the people at Inside Safe have remained housed. I think it's really important to build on that success. But what LA needs to do in the next 4 years that I plan to accomplish is building out a more cost-effective system to deal with people when they get off the street and not put them into permanent housing immediately. You can't go from a tent into an apartment and expect to function on your own.
Also on homelessness, at the pantry earlier this week, you were talking about comprehensive health care for the unhoused. And you talked about how many of the unhoused, because of their meth use, lose their teeth.
That's right.
Who would pay for the dental care for the unhoused?
When I say comprehensive health care, it's actually what people can get from Medi-Cal. The problem is that the linkage isn't made with the people and the services.
So
and
that would be
that
taxpayers?
system, well, we already pay for it. It's already paid for. It's the linkage that hasn't happened.
The reaction to that, though, was, why isn't the mayor doing more to address the meth use in the first place? What are you doing to address the drug use so we don't have to pay for dental care?
And let me just 100%. Let me just tell you that when I came in, we started, even though it is not the city's role to provide health care, it is the county. That was not enough for me. I said we have to provide it ourselves. So we took lawsuit money from tobacco and we established contracts with drug-related organizations, substance abuse organizations. And so some of those people we can refer to a drug treatment program. The issue with dental is that you want people to be productive. You want them to have a job. You want them to no longer need public assistance. So while someone is in interim housing waiting for permanent housing, let's us help them get their act together so they will be successful and down the line will not need public assistance at all.
Yeah, but what about getting the people off of the drugs, off the meth? You know, it's funny how she had these numbers ready about the homelessness reductions that she claims are happening in Los Angeles, but no data on how many people you are housing and they are actually getting clean and off of drugs. They tell you just as much by what they do not say as by what they choose to inform you about. Now let's go to where she is asked about Spencer Pratt and the success of his campaign. Take a listen.
Why do you think someone like reality TV star Spencer Pratt is doing well in this race?
Oh, I think he's tapping into the anger and frustration that people have. I think he's doing that, but I think we're a celebrity-driven culture.
If he's tapping into why people are angry, then why is that possible? It is because they are upset with the job that Karen Bass has been doing, misusing taxpayer dollars, watching crime and homelessness spiral out of control, things just continuously getting worse. That's why he is connecting, because he's relaying the message that he's seeing. The level of incompetence from Democrat leadership in the city of Los Angeles.
The fact of the matter is, though, is that I've been on the job addressing the concerns of Angelenos. Streetlights has been a major challenge. For years and years, we just kept replacing copper lights, even though we knew the copper would be stolen. And so I rolled out establishing and installing 60,000 copper lights. As a matter of fact, I'll be doing that later on today. So why would we continue to replace copper with copper? Solar, we meet our environmental goals, plus there's nothing to steal. We're installing these lights, several hundred over each month.
So let's get this straight. Rather than be tougher on crime and punish those who are stealing from the city, she says, let's just use solar. So no punishment for the thieves. Just forget about what they are doing and hope that if you use another source like solar, they just won't steal it. But she's not the only candidate that Spencer Pratt outperformed on the debate stage. There was also Nithya Raman, who wants to be basically Mom Donnie LA. The only problem is her campaign is falling apart, especially after the debate where she was destroyed also. And so let's check this out.
To move now to Los Angeles, where more than a dozen candidates are challenging Mayor Karen Bass in next month's primary. While Bass is sitting with a lead in most polls, two candidates, Spencer Pratt and Nithya Raman, have gained ground in recent months. Earlier, I spoke with Raman about her race and her candidacy. Here's more of our conversation. You just got into the race earlier this year, and some polls show you trailing incumbent Mayor Karen Bass as well as reality star Spencer Pratt. What are you doing between now and the June primary to close the gap?
You know, LA has a top two primary system, and incumbents usually get into the runoff, which is what the polling is showing us here. What I'm trying to do is tell people about the state of the race. Spencer Pratt and I are neck and neck right now, and one of us will be in the runoff and will be on the ballot in November. And that race for the second spot comes down to me, who has a progressive vision for an affordable Los Angeles, or a MAGA Republican who's a conspiracy theorist who has never held public office and has never shared any plans for how he's actually going to implement the change that he talks about.
And so basically, she really can't debate. We saw her performance when she had a chance to speak, and she fumbled terribly in that debate. So all she can do is try to make Spencer Pratt look bad by labeling him as MAGA and implying that he is some far-right lunatic, which is basically what she's trying to do by calling him a conspiracy theorist, right? But when she had the opportunity to outperform that so-called far-right conspiracy theorist, she failed terribly. As a matter of fact, she backed out of the next debate against him. And so the fact that she may have prior experience, what does that matter when she is already showing in her current position that she's incapable of doing the job?
To me, that's the choice that's facing Los Angeles on June 2nd, and every vote is going to matter. That's the message that we're getting out to voters right now, and that is the message that is taking hold among many of the people that we're talking to.
Mayor Bass recently described Spencer Pratt's campaign as, quote, tapping into a general sense of anger that people have. Do you agree with that assessment?
I believe that there is a real sense of frustration in Los Angeles around the state of the city. That's what propelled me to get into the race. And I feel like if you don't address that frustration with real actions, if you don't demonstrate real change on the ground in the things that are driving that frustration, the incredibly high cost of living here in this city, the homelessness crisis, which continues roiling our streets every single day, if you don't demonstrate progress, people will turn to people like Spencer Pratt, who are giving voice to that frustration, but who are not promising anything like real solutions. Anyone who tells you that homelessness can be fixed with a tweet.
What good is it promising anything? What exactly is that going to do, as if politicians have not promised things in the past, only to then just, flip on those promises as soon as they are elected and never follow through? So whatever his plan is, the fact that he is not making empty promises, I don't know how that's a deal breaker.
In the mayoral debate this month, you accused Bass and Pratt of working together against you. Do you still believe that? I mean, they both have denied that.
I think that the political machine, which is supporting Mayor Bass in her reelection, is spending a lot of money to ensure that I don't get into the runoff, because I think they see me as a very real threat to the status quo, to what is already in place right now. And so, yes, I do believe that people are trying to ensure that I don't make it into the runoff. But for me, as someone who cares about Los Angeles, who has watched politics play out at the national level in really, I think, corrosive ways, I don't want that for the next 5 months in our general election. I want to make sure that we're having a real debate about how we address the very real issues that are facing us. I have plans for addressing our cost of living crisis driven by our extraordinary cost of housing. I have a real agenda for addressing homelessness with accountability and urgency and building on the results that I've had in my own district. That's the debate that I want to be having. That's the debate that Angelenos deserve.
Yeah, and so I'll leave it here. She was so confident and wants to debate the issues, but when she had the chance, she failed miserably. Then her and Karen Bass, because they did not want any more to smoke with Spencer Pratt, they backed out of the next debate and wanted to avoid being on the same stage with him, all because of how bad he made them look as a newbie. And they are the seasoned political vets. And so he's the candidate with no experience, yeah, but made the most sense. But those are my thoughts on the update. Now let me hear from you. Drop your comments down below. As always, if you enjoy the content, smash that thumbs up button. That's the best way to let me know. Subscribe to stay locked in with all the future content. And as always, until next time.